This is super exciting. It's been a long time since we've gotten to hear some new stuff from you guys, but I think the biggest piece that's missing for fans of the band is seeing you guys live. How does it feel to kind of know that that door is kind of slowly becoming open?
Man, I've been back and forth this whole time I'm a bit of a dramatic person, which is probably why I write songs, but I go from thinking there will never be another show ever again to, hey, it looks like we're going to be playing shows soon. I describe it as a needle. There's every day there's a new thing that you learn or find out where maybe it's a piece of bad news and that needle looks like it's tipping towards it's not going to happen, this year. And then maybe you hear another piece of information the next day and it sounds like a good thing. And then, so it's moving back and forth all the time. And I think that people feel like these concert promoters and these festival promoters, people putting on these shows, have more information than maybe the general public does about it. The truth is, having talked to the top of the top guys about what they know, they don't know anything more than we do. And that's it's kind of crazy to realize that they are, kind of taking it in stride day by day as well. And so it's tough. We've never released a record and not gone out and tour on it right away. It's definitely new ground.
I feel like, your guys' gigs are largely defined by spectacle, whether it's flaming cars or backflips or all of these things. I feel like the live experience of your band is part and parcel to who you guys are and your identity. I mean, do you think there's any way to recreate any of that via a live stream?
I don't think that we'll ever truly replace that feeling of singing songs with, a bunch of people in one room, that experience. There's no version of that in a live stream that we're going to be able to conjure up. And that's one of the things I've been telling my team now. We've been working on this. So we do have a live stream event that's going to be, happening the same day as the new album comes out on May 21st. And so kind of tandeming a release of a record and doing a live stream concert with it. I've told my team, yes, we want to try to capture some of those exciting, dramatic moments that we've created on our live show. But at the same time, we have to realize this is a new format. We gotta be smart here. A lot of live stream shows that I've watched, I kind of feel like I've seen it all after song 2. How do we keep people engaged throughout? All these things we've been working on. Hopefully we land on it. I think we will. We're really excited about the creative direction of it. And I think it's a great way to release a record. And maybe the positive in all this is that we are forced to do something, in a live stream show while releasing a record that maybe that's how people will release records from here on out, even if you're able to go play shows. So maybe you can put the pieces together where it's almost its own formula for how music is released from here on out. So that's trying to look on the bright side. But with all the uncertainty, I've always, as a songwriter, written songs through the lens of live music. How is the song going to feel live? What's it going to communicate live? And you would think that this would be the perfect opportunity to write a record without that lens over my face. And I still couldn't do it. These songs are for sure meant to be experienced in a live setting in some capacity. I don't know if that makes me excited or sad because we don't know when that will be. But I cut my teeth as a songwriter showing people songs on small stages in clubs. And so it's really tough for me to separate those two people. I think I'll always be that person.
I listened to Shy Away, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 times back to back throughout the course of this day. And it's a show ender, man. It hits home, but I really feel like it does this amazing trick where it ties into sort of the core themes that you guys always manage to talk about in your songwriting. And this idea of growth and change and grappling with the pain of that, because without growth, there is no change. And 9 times out of 10, pain and growth kind of go hand in hand. You guys managed to pull that trick off again, where you get to wrap this message up into something that people are pumping their fists in the airs about.
Yeah, I mean, the track is exciting for a lot of reasons. For me, I love the structure of it, where it's a continual and gradual ramp all the way to, you don't necessarily end up where you started. I love that about the structure of the song. I'm excited about it for other reasons too. This is one of the first songs where I produced the whole track out entirely myself, wrote it and produced it here in the studio I'm sitting in now. But then I sent it over to Josh, and he recorded and tracked drums to it by himself. It was just literally the only two hands on this record, other than on the mix side, are Josh and I. And there's a real pride to this track for us as a band. And I think that it's important for people who operate in a band format to have songs that they're all parties involved in that band and in that kind of partnership are excited about. And this song definitely is that for us because of how collaborative it was on the production end.
You look at Blurryface, and you kind of wrote that as a character that represented everything you didn't like about yourself. And it feels like Shy Away is maybe a more mature continuation of that theme. Does that track? For
sure. In fact, I think that there's a lot of things that I look back at, a record like Blurryface, and there's a lot of questions I was asking myself, trying to internally solve things. And at this point, kind of maturing a bit, not just as a songwriter, but as a person. This song specifically is a little more inward out rather than from outward in, because I specifically had, my younger siblings in mind while writing this track, because the only thing tougher than figuring out what your purpose is in this life is watching someone that you love try to figure it out for themselves as well. So the track is really meant as a prodding forward, an encouragement to not be afraid to take that step into that direction of who you're ultimately going to be. And so because of that, I think, naturally it's a natural progression from some of the, the things that I've written about in the past, but I look at it almost as packaging it up as something that I've learned and trying to convey it to someone else that I love.
That's incredibly difficult to do. You have to be very confident in who you are to be able to reach out and offer support for somebody else to be able to find that same path. I think that's what a beautiful gift to be able to share. Yeah,
and it's a balance. You can't just ramrod in and tell someone how they should do it. But when you start gathering enough experiences in your life, you start recognizing someone going through something that you once went through, and without coming across as patronizing or talking down to or belittling, if the time is right and you've built the right rapport with that person, you really can show them, hey, this is some things that helped me. Here's some tools that helped me get through something that seems like on the outside to me that you might be going through something that I've figured out in a sense already. And so, it's a delicate exchange for sure. But when, like I said, I think rapport is the most important thing. That person you need to know each other on an intimate level, and family is one of those things for me. And so this song specifically is directed towards some people that I really love.
You guys have always managed to place, themes of mental health and faith and as center points for albums, whether these are like the load-bearing arches that hold 21 Pilots albums together. Is that sense of growing up and maturity going to be on Scaled and Icy? Can we expect a continuation of those or those explorations on this new project?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, as a songwriter, like I said, there's something that I'll probably never escape. One is writing through the lens of live music. I love writing songs for what will eventually be an experience live. And two, trying to expose certain things in my life that I haven't solved. What's encouraging about that is that I don't believe that I'll ever solve them all. And that is kind of, that's an important lesson to learn in itself, that not all of them will be solved. And so there's definitely, I think, thematically and lyrically, you'll start, as our fans become familiar with my style and my angles and my go-tos, you'll be able to pick up some older tricks on this record. I think on Trench, our last record, I was really, really trying to extend myself. And I think on this record, I tried to take everything that I had learned and go back to what I loved about music and kind of operate under a little less fear and a little more boldness. And I think people will like it.
I got to ask, on that album art, on the bottom, there was a little disclaimer in very, very hard to read lettering. It said, the views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the Sacred Municipality of Dema and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the artist. Now, taking that into consideration, was this project made under duress, or was there a third element or an outside force in the creation of this album?
all I can say is I'm really excited about the record.
Fair enough.
You're gonna push me.
Fair enough. I had to ask. I had to ask. And then last but not least, I know the last time I think we saw Ned in person was on Fallon. I'm assuming he's going to be a part of this next era as well.
He's kind of he's on a hiatus where he's turned his phone off. We can't find him, and he turned his location services off too. Like usually that's how we would keep in touch with him, but he's so we're as soon as honestly, if you're out there, Ned, like just come on home.
Tyler, thank you so much, man. I'm really stoked. It's good to have you guys back, and it's good to see that whatever form or shape that this takes place during the live stream, fans are going to be there for it.
Dude, I really appreciate it for real.